evening and welcome to Enugu Kwenu on Apga TV. My name is Nathalie. We discuss the motivations behind the resignation of a prominent member of the All Progressives Grand Alliance and his future plans. This is Enugu Kwenu once again. I am Nathalie Uku. Welcome. Alliance Zonal Chairman Enugu East, Mr. Nonso Nnamani, has resigned from his position and party. He reached the decision after, I quote, careful consideration of his personal and professional priorities. Mr. Nonso Nnamani joins us all the way from London this evening. Thank you, Mr. Nonso Nnamani, for joining me. Welcome.
Thank you, Nathalie. Thank you. It's always a pleasure joining Apga TV for conversations, and it's a delight to be here today.
All right, thank you. This is more than a conversation. I think this has become a decisive pathway. It's a decisive pathway for you. So let's begin with the obvious question. Now you're joining us all the way from London. Can you tell us what has taken you to London, first and foremost?
I would say personal development. First time journey. When I ran for House of Assembly in 2019, immediately after the election, I also engaged in personal development. I enrolled with SPPG, the School of Politics and Governance, Policy and Governance, and then I also enrolled in my MBA program. So each time there is a gap within the political process, I always utilize it as a time for self-reflection, personal development, and of course, developing other business and political interests. Yeah.
All right, that's fantastic, and good looking out to you, and best of luck in your programs. Is there any chance that you would be returning to anytime soon? Should people expect your return?
Well, I don't like the word return. I don't think I've left. I am virtually everywhere. In fact, people always are surprised when you tell them that I'm not in Enugu, because I am visibly involved in Enugu conversations. I'm visibly involved in activities, any local organizing that we are doing. I don't think I've actually removed myself from any political or social activity within the town. So yes, it's going to be one leg in, one leg out, coming in to do what is necessary to be done, and then of course, giving attention to other priorities.
All right, now let's head straight to the business of the day. I'm happy that you're still involved in activities in Enugu, and it's great that people can't even tell that you are away, because that means you're obviously very much involved. Now let's look at the biggest news. Some people this is breaking news if you ask me, because you were a prominent member of the All Progressives, and now you have announced your resignation. You're resigning from your position and you are resigning from the party. And we all know that you contested as the House of Reps candidate during the 2023 elections for Enugu North and South federal constituencies. You came second place. And many people believe that probably because this was a period that saw the Labour Party wave, so you may have very well had a high chance of winning that election, but congratulations to who won anyway. But you still had a phenomenal platform and an opportunity. And beyond the platform, your effort as well, because we saw you engage door-to-door, grassroots, you really did your homework. So what motivated you to decide to leave the party after all of this? I mean, the election season is not even close. It's still 2027, but you have taken this decision to step away. And you not only stepped away, you said they should do it with immediate effects. You stressed that immediate effects. Tell us the motivations. Why?
Well, if I'm able to tell you the motivation for joining the party, it will also help explain the motivation for leaving. And before I joined Apga, I've been exposed to nothing less than three policies. Joining Apga was to create a platform for progressives, create a platform for value-based leaders, and not just running for election. I've never really joined a political party. In 2018, I was part of the team that started of investment to my campaign efforts, because I am always seeing beyond the election. Okay, so the goal was to get involved in the political process, bring about political reform which was part of my agenda, manifesto, that one of the things I'm looking forward to do when I win the election is to bring about reform specifically from the political party across Nigeria. So after the election, of course, we tried to do that. At some point, there were some conversations within the stakeholders in Enugu State if I should become or if I should run for the chairmanship position of the party within the state. Of course, that canvassing wasn't successful. But over time, you realize that what is happening within Apga is not also peculiar to Apga. It's something that is peculiar to almost every political party in Nigeria. Not willing to accept fresh ideas, fresh leadership, being able to address the questions of ideology and how to build a party that, not just focuses on itself as a political party, but, look towards achieving the dreams of an average Nigerian. With this, it was not possible for us to do that within Apga. And then that is what is inspiring the next effort.
All right. I like that you have mentioned that it's not just an Apga thing. It's a political party thing. It transcends beyond Apga to other political parties, and that involves the actual ideology that operates after the election season is over. It leads me to this question, and I would really appreciate if you can give us an honest answer. What was your experience of the ideology of Apga as a party when you were still a member of that party? How did you eventually come to the realization that there was...
Of course, the structures was not as it was supposed to be in terms of what we expected it to be. And then, some new faces were already in the party. Mr. Frank Weke had already joined the party. Soludo, was in Anambra. There was that hopefulness that some certain kinds of value-based leaders, some certain kinds of individuals are beginning to get involved in the party. And maybe this is an opportunity for us to really turn it into something great. While the election was going on, the signs were there, of course, but I've always known that, change is not something you do in a day, that we need to build intentionally, communicate what our ideologies are, and then try to help people understand, what this is about. I mean, sometimes I have frank conversations with political party members. I will ask them, when we win an election, what are you expecting? Are you expecting business as usual? Do you want to be part of a change? Do you want to make a difference? Or is it just going to be business as usual? So we are trying as much as possible to help people who were getting involved because of us and people who were already there to understand that this is just beyond building a political party. It's about building Nigeria. It's about building our community and building the Nigeria of our dream. So it wasn't easy to get there. Of course, after the election, that was why I went in for the position. When I decided to go for the chairmanship position, which was not possible, the party said, okay, why not take Enugu East local government chairman, Enugu East zonal chairman? And I said, okay, it's fine. Let's see how it goes. We had few meetings, had few interactions, and it wasn't making any headway. Which brings me to what I want to say is that sometimes the changes we are trying to make, because they are already existing before you come from, you are also often seen as an alien. You are often always seen as a foreigner. Okay, and sometimes people can even question, why are you here? What are you trying to do? Which I understand. Okay, and that is why I've been advocating that there is need for the progressive, the value-based leaders to begin to mainstream or build intentionally, our own political party based on our ideas and ideologies that will provide the kind of leadership that we want for an average Nigerian. And I think we'll possibly get there as we go on in the conversation.
All right, so we're definitely going to get to that later, the progressives. But I have to ask you this question. There have been heated debates. We saw that even during the 042 debate tournaments, the question of whether political parties are still sustainable or whether individuals should contest as, you know, as their own political parties, so to speak. So individuals contesting independently without the distractions of the ideology or the politics within the political party. Where do you stand in this debate? Do you think that political parties should continue despite your experience with Apga, or should individuals start to contest on their own? Or are we going to just create the atmosphere for godfatherism to thrive? Because eventually people need influence from some sort, whether it's an individual or whether it's through the party, as we saw a lot during the Labour Party wave.
Okay, I'll answer the question in two ways. The first part of it is to first of all understand what a political party is in the first place and why they exist. Okay, so people have different thoughts or different ideas of what the society should look like. Okay, so some people have some kind of policy direction. Some people have a kind of framework or structure that they believe, you know, the society should operate on. So the idea of a political party is people with the same ideology, people with the same idea, people with the same policy direction begin to network each other together and then begin to have conversations on how to actualize that dream of their picture of their society. That is what gave birth to political party. So you see, there is an ideological framework that gave birth to the party. So what we've seen in Nigeria is that over time, political parties emerge because politicians are seeking for platforms, are probably not exonerated from that. I think I'm also a party to that crime, you know, where the thinking is just the next election. Let's win the next election. So nobody is sitting down to ask, okay, but why are we here? What do we hope to achieve? What are we building? Which you saw in the case of Labour Party. After they won the election, you saw what happened in Enugu. It was not even up to 1 year. In a space of 6 months, they have migrated back to PDP. So some of you ran an election speaking against PDP, condemning PDP, speaking all manner of things about PDP. And then within 6 months, you are back to PDP. So what are we really building in the first place? So you discover that it's about clinging onto the next available platform and winning election and doing whatever you want to do. It's not about building in terms of ideology, in terms of what you want to. It's not value-based, okay? On the aspect of independent candidates, I've listened to INEC leaning on that, and of course it makes sense, okay? Imagine a Nigeria where you say register a political party, then you register like hundreds of political parties. Okay, so imagine a situation where you say an independent candidate can register. A young man can wake up in the morning and say, okay, I'm going to register to run for election. And then you can see maybe 100,000 people can register all over Nigeria that they want to run for election. How are you going to manage that? Okay, so I think that, yes, it's something that we can consider in the future, but there are some things that needs to be put in place, you know, to be able to make sure that, you know, such process of independent candidacy can be managed properly. If not, everybody can declare presidency or declare governorship or declare House of Rep, and then INEC is struggling to manage elections between few political parties. How are they going to give us that? Mm-hmm. You know, so that's my take on that. And yeah.
All right, so what you're saying in summary now is that political parties started with the hope of basically gathering people with the same ideology who had the same agenda, but now it has shifted away away towards the left, if we can put it that way, to people who just want a platform that will help them win the next election and the one after that, so to speak. So it's no longer much about the common ideology that is supposed to make a nation or a state move forward. Is that accurate?
Yeah, of course, we are not building any dream. If you ask where is the Nigerian dream, there is no Nigerian dream. And how is Nigerian dream going to come about? People are going to put it together. Okay, how are those people going to put it together if they don't come together to work together to envision what Nigeria looks like? I've always said that there is one question that we have not answered. Okay, whenever I listen to politicians, whenever I listen to people who are running for elections in Nigeria, I look at two key issues. Two key issues are very, very important to me. The first one is the Nigeria question. Nigeria is very polarized and continue to, be divided as new presidents, as new leaders emerge. Believe in one Nigeria. Everybody who have known me for a long time knows that I am a proponent of one Nigeria. But you see, I also believe that one Nigeria needs to be negotiated. We need to sit down on the table and begin to craft a charter and begin to ask ourselves, how do we want to exist as a nation? So we might even need to, revisit our past and ask certain questions. We might need to heal. There has to be reconciliation. You can't talk about peace. You can't talk about development. You can't talk about economic success if there is no unity. And you can't talk about unity if we don't sit down on the table and then heal. So Nigeria needs to be renegotiated. Read about countries that are succeeding today. Those countries do not come about out of wishful thinking. They came about because the citizens came together and decided this is the kind of nation that we want to build. We have not been able to achieve that. The second thing I also look at is education. Whenever people are talking about building industries, building economic development, you see a lot of that happening in Enugu, for instance, where, you will see that they are commissioning this, that they are commissioning that. And what comes into my head is, okay, we commissioned something last year. Where was it? Okay, we commissioned something last 24 years. Where was it? Because we are not looking at development in terms of the process that achieves development in a nation, which is education. Fundamentally, there has to be the base of education. So when you look at, okay, for instance, in Enugu, we are building model schools, okay? But then you go to those model schools, there are no teachers. Those children come to school, they are not learning anything. The few who are there are overwhelmed. So the process is important. And I keep emphasizing that. It's not about building projects, it's about building the quality of individuals who are living in the society. Okay, nations are not great because they have structures. Nations are not great because they have economic ideas. Nations are great because of the quality of individuals who exist in that society. And when you look at the state of education, you know that there is no serious government in Nigeria. When you look at the state of education, you know there's no serious government anywhere in Nigeria. Because you cannot prioritize projects over education and then you are talking about sustainability.
All right.
It's not going to...
Let me come in there. Though I would like us to head back to the Apga issue. But since you've brought up this angle, I'll have to get your reaction to this. The 33% budget allocated for education in Enugu and the smart schools. What is your brief assessment of this?
I think the smart school is a great idea. I think it's a great, we are talking about technology. We are talking about AI today, so the idea, anybody who is thinking of a smart school, is bringing up a brilliant idea. Okay. But like I said, you see, when you don't have the foundation and then you begin to just build structures because you have wonderful ideas, it's still going to, fall us back to the same challenge. When the issue of smart schools started and they said they are going to build, new schools across Enugu in every ward, my first question was, what about the existing schools? Why was it not working? Can we investigate the structure that was holding those schools, to revisit it and ask, why is it not working and what can we do? Okay, you want to earmark billions of naira into building new schools. Why not take a portion of that and fix the existing schools and then put a lump sum of that money into education of the teachers who are going to carry out the smart school? Okay, so to set up a smart school, you also need smart teachers. You also need a smart training curriculum. You also need a smart process. You need something that will make sure that the ideas you are trying to communicate through the structure is there. Okay, I've had people visit those schools. I've seen pictures, I've seen videos, and it's terrible. Some of them I refuse to, bring it out because I don't want to be seen as someone who is fighting the government. Like I said, I'm largely on ground. I see everything going. And for some, I like the idea. I like what is going on. But we have to build from what we have. We have to build from existing structures. We have to identify that the teachers are as important as the structures. Okay, you talk about the issue of their wages. Okay, they will tell you, okay, some are paid 50,000 naira, some are paid 70,000 naira. I know they provided accommodation for some of them, but it is still not enough. Okay, so why not give them a good salary, provide something that will help them to be able to be smart in order to provide a smart school. Because you buy those boards are there, they are not being used. Some of the teachers don't even know how to use the boards. So the point is, we have to build progressively. We can't just jump into success. We can't just jump into national development. And that is why I said the process at which we grow as a nation will show whether we are serious or not. And that is what the quality of the individual, our educational system, the people who are going to pilot this dream that we have about Nigeria, we still need to work on them first.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Of course, let me allow you to.
Yes, we're definitely going to get into the progressives, but I have to ask this question, taking us back to this subject. Apga, how has Apga received the news of your resignation? What are people within the party saying? What are your supporters saying about it? Tell us the raw facts. What's going on within the party now that you've...
Well, the funny thing is that the two key people I had that conversation with said, well, it's not a news. I expected it. I know you won't last.
Why do you think it was expected?
Because one of them said that from the very first moment we had conversation with you, I knew you were different. Okay, he has been in the party for a very long time. And then when I came in, the kind of energy I came in with, the kind of ideas I came in with, the kind of campaign structure I came in with, the kind of energy, I can work from morning to evening, I don't get tired. So the kind of processes that we are involved. When you visit my campaign office and we are running for election, my campaign office is like an educational program. So I keep emphasizing to them that it's not just about winning the election. The process we go through in winning that election is as important as the election itself. Frank Weke will always echo that. He will always emphasize that the process is as important as the destination. And when you come around our campaign process, when you come around what we are doing, how organized our work is, someone will just know that what you have is different. Okay, so our conversation was different. Our campaign, like you rightly said, was different. Our engagement with the community was different. And I was hoping to also help the party understand that there is more we can do. There is more we can achieve if we are a bit open to fresh ideas and fresh leadership. But that didn't, go well. Some key leaders in the party have reached out to me, expressed that, yes, this is a great loss for the party, but I have a good relationship with everybody in the party. All the stakeholders, party leadership, I have a good relationship with any of them. No stress, no misunderstanding, no fighting. And they all respect my part. Possibly they expected is going to come. So I'm still friends with some of them on a personal basis. Hopefully we can do something in the future, but I've been on this thought for more than 1 year now, and it's something I can avoid. Yes.
All right. I have to ask now, you talked about what I would describe as complacency within the party, because you had such great ideas, you were hardworking, and people said you will soon get tired. So what can we take away from that statement? What does it say about the party? What does it say about the people who are able to work within that environment?
My honest take about Apga is that the leadership of Apga doesn't want Apga to grow. Okay, so there's no way you will explain Apga being in Anambra for how many years, and there's no significant impact even in the East. Okay, so you saw how we did our campaign. I don't think anybody even came from the national or came from Anambra, which is the main stronghold of the party, to support what we are doing. I was not just me, other candidates in the party was largely running that election based on our sheer will and our commitment to getting results. Okay, and then if you incident, you also notice that almost every governor in Anambra that came out of Apga always moves on. Okay, Peter Obi came out and he moved on. I've forgotten the name of their former governor, came out and moved on. With the way Soludo is going, it's already clear that he's going to move on. So, which is why I always say that if people are in a party and they hope to move on, And then you come in, you are saying, okay, I want to build. So you see, you guys are not going to the same location. Okay, you are saying, let's build. Somebody else is saying, no, this vehicle cannot take me beyond Anambra. So let's just keep it here where it is. When you finish, move on. There are some people who are there who also don't want it to move on. So they will say, okay, you've done your own. Leave it for us here. I'll move on. You find that in Enugu, and when I was having this conversation with one of my mentors about me leaving, I also told him that I think I'm beginning to be, realistic about these things. Realistic in the sense that somebody has been building a political party for whatever agenda. I'm not supposed to judge anybody's intention. Okay, so for whatever agenda, they've been building this political party. And then one day, one young man who is speaking grammar comes in, say he has ideas, he wants to do this. The other person is going to really be edgy. It's going to feel like, okay, I've been training this child. Do you want to take it away from me? Okay, so they are setting up for a specific purpose, which is different from the idea that you envision. I also feel that it's selfish on my part, to come into a political party where people have already set up what they want to do, whether they want to use it for their personal interest or for whatever. And then you just want to overtake it overnight and then begin to build a dream, a Nigerian dream, like you call it. Which is why I'm advocating that the progressives, the value-based leaders, needs to also make commensurate sacrifice in fixing Nigeria. I was having a Facebook Live the other day. Someone asked a question about Tinubu, that President Tinubu has been, that is going to be there, he's taking over everything. How do you hope to overcome his hold upon Nigeria? I said, why would you even want to overcome his hold? Tinubu has been in Nigerian politics for how many years? More than most of us we are even giving birth to. Okay, he has been there investing, building men, planting. Whether he is doing it for a personal cause or whatever, but he has invested time, energy, sacrifice a lot into building a political structure that will give him the presidency. Why would any progressive wake up in the night and then just assume that they want to be the president of Nigeria? I also feel that we are not being realistic. So the earlier we start investing in our own structure, the earlier we start investing in our own party and building it, even if we are not the direct beneficiaries of those platforms, at least we leave something behind for the upcoming generation to use and thrive and build the Nigerian dream. Okay, right. So this is one thing I also think that we have not done well. Okay, so we need to be able to say, okay, since we have the same ideas, since we have the same ideologies, can we start building something? No matter how small.
Okay.
Even if we can't run for election with it, it's fine. We continue building. Even if we get old, a friend of mine told me, no, so what you're talking about is going to take 30 years and there's no guarantee. I said, the one we are doing now, is there any guarantee? In the past 4 years, I've been exposed to at least 4 political platforms. Oh, what was the outcome?
All right.
I mean, what was the outcome?
We have to take a quick break now, but when we return, we're going to delve into your assessment of whether Nigeria can actually progress from point A to, let's even take it easy, A+. I don't know. How well can we, how possible is it for Nigeria to move forward and evolve from where it's found itself? And would also delve into the progressives and what the mandate is and what plans that you have for this rather exciting development returns after this quick break. Please stay with us.
Welcome to the latest and most amazing show on your.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break.
You don't sing along.
I did single.
For real.
You're not a backup singer.
That's what they do.
Welcome back to Enugu Kwenu here on Apga TV, and I'm still joined all the way from London by Mr. Nonso Nnamani, an author and executive director, Power Shift Africa, and of course also a prominent or now former prominent member of the All Progressives Grand Alliance. Mr. Nonso, let's head straight into this idea, this new party, this ideology you're about to really, just run off with. You have the baton and you're about to take off with it. The Progressives. Tell us what this is all about, and what the mandate is going to be, and how you intend to make sure that it does not go down this slippery slope that you have decided to look away from and move on. Okay, so
the question we ended with is, can Nigeria work? Okay, I've gotten, in fact, when I came to London, my friend told me, you see, relax, there are problems everywhere, that Nigerians are everywhere. Let's start fixing the Nigerian problem even here in the UK. Get involved in a party. You can plan and run for election in the next 5 years, and I'm sure you have what it takes to win. He gave me a sound lecture that, oh boy, forget Nigeria, build your life here. Because in his mind, he believes that Nigeria can work. But naturally, this is one thing that keeps driving me. You see, there is no problem with Nigeria, okay? The Nigeria as a nation does not have any problem, okay? A great nation blessed with natural resources, mineral resources, human resources, arable land. There's a lot you can talk about that can make Nigeria one of the greatest nations on earth. What then is our problem? Our problem is lack of leadership. It means that if we can have the right leaders in place, then Nigeria is going to change. Look at what is going on in El Salvador. President Nayib Bukele, look at the reform. El Salvador is becoming one of the safest places in North and South America, safer than UK, America, Canada. And you see that once there is a leadership that understands that it is first the interest of the people, a lot can change in a society. And I don't think that leadership is just going to come by someone running for president. No. I don't think that leadership is going to come by somebody running for governorship. No. I think it's going to come by us going down to the level of the political party process, okay, where we begin to identify individuals with the right mindset, and we must be patient, okay? One of my mentors taught me very early in life that the passion to build must be stronger than the passion to expand. Okay, so when we started ANN political party, what was wrong is that we were so in a hurry to get into the election. Okay, so the party was formed in 2018, and then we are only going into election by 2019. Okay, so what happens is that you are going to attract. We had great plans. I was speaking with one of our founding members in ANN today, and we had a long conversation on this. And I reminded him when he was trying to tell me that, but it didn't work. And I reminded him that there were processes we put in place that we didn't follow up. We had training processes in place. We had structures in place. We had internal party democracy, leadership, fundraising. We had plans. But because we were in a hurry to rush into the election, a lot of people had to jump in, and then that was how ANN got derailed from its course, and then we are back to square one. So it means that we have to be intentional about the process of developing genuine leadership, not necessarily setting up a political party. When people say to me, are you going to build a political party? I don't want to say that, okay? We might eventually get there, but I don't want to outrightly say that. Because I don't want us to have a goal that, okay, we want to just build a political party and win an election. No, we want to build the Nigerian dream. And to build the Nigerian dream, you have to identify Nigerians who believe in that dream. And then we can now determine the course of the action. We can now determine how these things are now going to evolve. So probably it's going to start as a movement, which we have already started with Power Shift Africa. And then eventually it's going to, move into, other political spaces that will help us deliver the Nigerian dream. There's a lot we need to do. Let me give you an instance, Natalie. In the last election, a lot of us believe that Enugu did not win the election, that Peter Obi won the election, okay? And then from there, from what happened in INEC. You also saw what happened in Enugu. Enugu result was a mockery of democracy. It was a mockery of INEC. It was a mockery of anyone who believes anything in democracy. Okay, but if you move on from there, you discover that it's not just enough to say that you want to run for election. You have to also ask yourself who is going to count the votes. You also have to ask yourself what is the integrity of INEC. You have to also ask yourself what about the justice systems? How reformed is the justice system? So thinking about electioneering process is not just about campaigning and winning. There's a whole dynamics to win an election in Nigeria.
All right.
And we have to be intentional in bringing about policy reform, policy change, in order to change the whole political space.
Okay.
So it's a long time journey, and I am willing to dedicate the rest of my life doing that.
Okay, so it still takes us back to your stand and that of your friend on Nigeria as a whole and the ability of Nigeria to actually be fixed. Now you have come with this new party idea, the Progressives. Can you help us draw a link between the Progressives, the idea of the Progressives, and Nigeria as a whole, allowing such a party to actually grow its own wings and fly one day? I believe we can do anything we determine we want to do. I mean, we can achieve anything we want to achieve if we are focused and we are willing to build it from ground up. Like I said, what we need is leadership. I had some strong conversations before getting to this decision. And you see there are a lot of progressives. So for instance, you see somebody like Peter Obi, you see somebody like Pat Utomi, you see somebody like Obia Ezekwesili, in different platforms, having different strategies. And the question I keep asking is, why can't we come together? Create our own platform and create the platform that we believe that can help the Nigerian dream. If we are not able to build a political party as progressives in quotes, I don't think we have what it takes to build a nation, because a political party is a small set of the Nigeria equation that we are trying to solve. So if we cannot build a strong, successful, sustainable organization with strong internal democracy, independent funding strategy, then we can't fix Nigeria. I even told someone that if I can't build a successful political movement in Nigeria, then I doubt if I have what it takes to lead to lead in any form of government, because it's a way to prove that whatever idea that we are sharing, whatever ideology that we are talking about, we are able to prove it in a small space. Mm-hmm. We are able to prove it in a small institution. So that is why it's important that if we, the progressives, can't come in a political party and agree, then even in Nigeria, we can't agree. All right, let me come in there quickly, Mr. Nonso. Now, you have parties in Nigeria that all have progressives. You have the All Progressives Grand Alliance. You have the All Progressives Congress. Does it not hint that these parties at some point had this progressive agenda and they wanted people like yourself, like Peter Obi and other politicians to be a part of them, but it eventually all apparently, based on your analysis, may not be doing as well as it should. So what makes you think that the progressives would be any different in the long run, that it would not get infiltrated? So that is why I said it's first of all about building a strong institution, okay? If we get it right at the level of party, we are going to get it right in Nigeria. Let me give you an instance. One of the moments, I was in South Africa when Mandela died. And that was when I had first-hand experience of studying about ANC. I actually got involved with ANC as a political party, because their story kind of inspired me. And when Mandela left law school and followed his friend to join ANC, and from there he became a youth leader, one day they had a meeting. There was a meeting with ANC leaders, and Mandela made a speech. The ANC leaders went inside after listening to Mandela's speech and agreed that if ANC is going to succeed, that Mandela is the future of ANC. And that was how they all sacrificed their ambition and their dream, followed Mandela,
and the struggle in South Africa became a success. One of the things I've also seen about progressives is that it's sadly about personal ambition. It's sadly about personal ambition. And the only way we can prove that it's not about personal ambition is when we can be able to build a working institution. So it's not about me saying, okay, I want to run for governorship or I want to run for presidency. Can we bring down ambition and make it about Nigeria? This is one thing that we have also done wrong. So you see almost all the so-called progressives are trying to be the one. Nobody is willing to make a sacrifice and say, okay, let's support one person, let's support one structure and build on it. Okay? So everybody wants to be president, everybody wants to be governor, everybody wants to run for election. And that is why people ask me, so when are you going to run again? I say, I don't know. Maybe I am better supporting those who are going to run and ensuring that they do the right thing. The goal must not be, remember, to just run an election or to just set up a political party. The goal must be to build a Nigerian dream. Anything less than that will not deliver the struggle.
All right, Mr. So now let me just jump in. You have made it clear that the mantra, the ideology of the progressives would be the Nigerian dream, to fix Nigeria, yes, and away from personal interest. But how do you negotiate the human reflex, the human tendency to prioritize oneself beyond anything else? That on one side, we are dealing with a party that will definitely start up as a minority party, right? Because you see lots of parties that, you know, when you go to the collation center, maybe you see Boot Party, BP, and maybe just see one or two votes there. And there's some other parties that are not as popular within an area. You go to Anambra, for instance, All Progressive Grand Alliance, 1 million votes. You come down to Enugu, and then it just dwindles because of the caption area of that party. Do you see that minority party tendency becoming a threat when you eventually launch the progressives? And on the other side, negotiating the human tendency to prioritize oneself above other goals?
The true test of value-based leadership is that you are willing to lay down your ambition, okay, which is going to be an integral aspect of what we are going to be doing, okay? If you are not willing to let another go process, then you are not sure what you are doing. And then that brings me to the second point. Building Nigeria is not about the candidacy. It's about the ideology. So why am I going to be willing to lay my own ambition down? Because if the ambition is to fix Nigeria, and we have a political process that has sets of policies and ideology to fix Nigeria, irrespective of who becomes the leader, if we are achieving our framework, then Nigeria is succeeding. So the goal of building institutions, like we always say, nations don't succeed because of individuals. Nations succeed because of institutions. So what we want to do is to invest rather in institutions that have ideas and ideologies, a picture of what the Nigerian dream looks like. So irrespective of Natalie or anybody who becomes a leader in that political party, we are not even telling you to think. We are not even telling you to it has a direction. So if we identify security, education, industrialization, low taxation, whatever we identify as our economic policy is a unified dream of the institution, not just the individual. So that way it can be sustainable, because the challenge that the progressives has also done in the past is to tie it around the individual. That is why it's not sustainable. So if you look at the last election, it was Obi, 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 Obi. At some point, people started separating Peter Obi and Labour Party, where he made the statement that he's not here to build a political party, that he's here to build the Nigerian dream, which I also thought anyway. You can't build a Nigerian dream without a political party, because it is strong institutions that make a nation succeed. So I would want you to think of it as we getting involved to build institutions, to build strong institutions and not individuals. Relying on individuals is weak. Institutions, you know, is something that is more sustainable, than even when the individual is gone, those ideas and those ideologies live on.
All right. Okay? It's like so when they tell you to drop the bad manners at the gates when you enter into a particular place. They'll tell you leave the troublemaking at the gate, leave the bad manners at the gate and come in, because that will not thrive here. right? And that's a very interesting stance that you
exactly.
have taken.
And when the party, and there's a second question you asked me about, being a minority. You see,
yeah, the threat of the minority.
Nigeria is at the brink of a breakdown. I don't know if you see it. I don't know if other people are seeing it. But Nigeria is at the break. Like when the fire starts, those in control won't believe that they were never in control. Okay? So part of what I believe is that if we are thinking about the future, we should start now to prepare and plan ahead into the future. So that when peradventure that nation begins to decline further into that break, maybe Nigerians can find people they can trust that can help to start rebuilding it. And then it will no longer be a minority. It's going to be the only song that they are singing all over the nation. And we are going to see it happen in our generation, God willing.
I look forward to that, 100%. Now, when can we see the progressives launching as a political party that intends to pursue this Nigerian dream that you are so passionate about?
So like I said, I am not setting out to start a political party. I am setting out to build the Nigerian dream. So part of what we want to do in Power Shift is that we are beginning to network with like minds, to begin to ask ourselves, what does Nigerian dream look like? Because I might have a dream that is different from what Natalie has. Okay, so what we want to do is to begin to scribble on the paper. What do we want? Okay, in terms of national divide, what do we want? In terms of religious polarity, what do we want? In terms of ethnic divide, there are nobody is willing to have. We need to sit down and begin to ask ourselves, what do we want? Okay. And then we need to also embark on the journey of national reconciliation.
Yes, let me come in there, just because we're running out of time and we need some clarity on this. If the Progressives is not a party, then can you clarify on what it is exactly? Because the idea that we thought was maybe you will have a group of people that will come together, like minds, and form this. So what is this if not a party?
We are starting the Nigerian Dream movement, which would hopefully eventually migrate into a political party. But like I'm saying, that the goal is not a political party. Building the dream is the goal. If we succeed in building the dream, then it will naturally trickle into the political party. But if we fail in selling that dream, then there's no point building a political party, because it's going to be business as usual.
All right. So the first thing is to get the dream in order. And if that dream is strong enough and the people there are willing to prioritize that dream, then the next step might be the political party.
I mean, that's the whole essence of leadership. You first of all answer, where are we going?
All right.
Okay, then when we answer where we are going, the next question is, do we want to make the sacrifice required to get there? And everybody says yes, and then we embark on the journey.
Okay, so now I have one last question for you. 2027 is far, but at the same time, it's not too far for people who are already thinking towards that re-election, and people are now probably trying to make sure that they do not lose their supporters. So what do you have to say to people who expected or looked forward to your participation or your contesting again in 2027? What do you have to say to those people that look forward to seeing you yet again on the ballot?
What I'm telling them to do right now is to Nigerians don't need more of activists. Nigeria needs more of active citizens. I want to turn them into active. They need to start thinking like active citizens. They need to start asking questions. They need to pursue their own personal independence and not rely in a political system that impoverishes them. They need to start, networking with each other. Join us in Power Shift. Okay, let's begin to walk this dream. Let's begin to weave it together. Okay, the goal should not be winning an election. The goal should be getting Nigerian system to work. We need to educate Nigerians. Okay, yes. Part of my goal in the next 5 to 10 years is to educate Nigerians, is to help them understand how democracy works.
How can people be a part of Power Shift? How can people be a part of Power Shift? How can they move that cause, Power Shift?
Our website is powershiftafrica.com. When you get there, there's a form, join. Once you click the form, we are going to, get back to you. So powershiftafrica.com. Right. Once you get there, click the form, and then we are going to get back to you.
All right. And when you do get back to them, what should they expect?
Okay, well, they should be expecting conversations on the Nigerian dream. They should be expecting conversations on strategies that we have in place to begin to train and sell our dream to average Nigerians. You see, there are things Nigerians are already used to. We need to convince them out of it so that we can be able to sell a new idea. And until we succeed in that, and we also need to have a number, just like a tipping point, we need to have an agreeable number, sizable number of people who are willing to embark on that journey. Okay? And once we do that, we also have a fellowship program that we are launching next month, which is November, which is also geared towards all the projects that we are doing. So once people get involved, at putting themselves in situations that places demand on their leadership, we are also getting people to learn community service, to start serving their community, irrespective of political positions. Those are the things that they are going to expect to see.
What I've been able to reflect on here, hearing you speak, is the fact that people don't even know. Many people are not aware of the ideologies of the parties that they support. All they know is, are you APC? Are you LP? Are you PDP? Nobody asks anymore, what is the ideology of PDP? That's something that's another angle. We need to really retrace our steps and really ask the right questions.
So usually political participation in Nigeria is, okay, I run for election, I win, I become an honorable. Then because you are close to me, you have benefits. So during my election, I keep telling them that, you travel to countries where things work. It's not about knowing honorable. Nobody even knows you. It's about creating a system that empowers the people.
Definitely. Mr. Nonso, we have just 1 minute left on this program, and I have to ask you this because of the direction that we've gone. How would you rate, in just 1 minute, the performance of people who won their positions because of the Labour Party wave? Would you rate their performance as excellent? Have they done what they actually set out to do when the Labour Party wave took over Nigeria?
Okay, so when I was campaigning, you always hear me say that we achieved one success in Labour Party in the last election. What was that? What was that success? Is to prove to us that a party without a name, a party without a structure can win an election in Nigeria. It's possible. Okay, they've been able to win it. Now, the second challenge that we have is that because we were not intentional, which is why I'm talking about creating a system of developing people first. Because we are not intentional about doing that, what we saw are people who were not ready for leadership. I kept asking, what was their plan? Vote Labour. There were no manifesto. You saw in Enugu, we had to drag the Enugu governorship candidate on social media for him to write a manifesto. He constantly said that he didn't need a manifesto. So, you see, the people who came into power through Labour were simply what we call accidental leaders. There was no plan, there was no preparation, there was no dream. And that was why you saw what happened in Enugu. I think about 6 members of Labour Party, within a space of 6 months, you didn't even stay there for 1 year. You didn't even try to say, okay, because there was no dream. It's all about platform.
All right. And then when you talk about the candidate that did not want to present the manifesto except put under pressure, who was that candidate exactly?
That's the Labour Party governorship candidate.
All right.
Chidoke Edoga. And almost all their candidates. The guy who was running with me will always tell people, only that day, vote Obi, vote Obi. That's the only campaign he had.
So there was only no manifesto. 2 words, 2.
And when you check what is going on now, there are no ideas. There's no fresh leadership, and it's business as usual.
All right, we have to leave it at that for now. I mean, we're definitely enjoying this conversation. I'm sure our viewers were enjoying it too. But that is all we can take on Enugu Kwenu today. We had Mr. Nonso Nnamani joining us all the way from London, former All Progressives Grand Alliance Zonal Chairman, Enugu East, an author and the Executive Director of Power Shift Africa. Thank you for making our time from your busy schedule to be with us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
On that note, we draw the curtains on Enugu Kwenu. Do well to have a blissful day ahead and stay tuned to Apga TV for more interesting conversations and revealing conversations such as this. I've been your host as always, Natalie Uku. Have a blissful day. Bye for now.
check. It's 2 p.m. and it's time for us to vibe, chill, and relax. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break on Apga TV. So Lunch Break is all about the music, it's all about fun, it's all about entertainment, it's all about entertaining, gossip, and stories from social. It's all about the latest trends, it's about what's lit, it's all about the games with our guests. And yes, in general, I like to say it's all about the vibes and vibes only.
Good evening to you, viewer, and welcome to Business, a show that profiles women, executives, and even the next door store owner, showcasing Igbo greatness to the world.
I started always obsessed with books ever since I was a child.
The stress of always converting naira to